Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Chairman, Kashmir Committee, honorable members of Parliament, distinguished members of media and civil society, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. The spirit of today's event that has been successfully organized by our well-renowned President Abu Sahib, Chairman of JKSDMI, and also Abu Sahib. I'm very delighted to see that the youth has taken part or taken lead in this regard. I'm also very delighted to see that the presence of such young people over here, because you have to carry forward this movement. You have to carry forward this message. So, of course, all of you those sitting here is definitely younger than I am because I am retired now. So the purpose of the spirit of this event and all such events is to convey a message of solidarity with the Kashmiris. Our Kashmiri brethren in the Indian occupied Kashmir, they are suffering for the last 7 decades. And that barbarity of Indian occupation forces and the successive Indian governments has been documented in loads of papers. The volumes of atrocities that have been documented by the international organizations. Kashmir is an internationally recognized issue. It is on the agenda of the UN Security Council. There should be no doubt about it. Kashmir issue has emerged because of the dishonesty, connivance between the Congress leaders and the imperial representatives who were in charge of partition plan. And there is no doubt about that. If you read the research that has been carried out by numerous scholars, particularly Mr. Al-Islam, Professor Al-Islam, you will definitely recognize and realize that Kashmir issue is because of that connivance and that dishonesty that has sowed the seed of the problem that persists for the last 72 years. Today, the topic is with reference to the UN Security Council resolutions. There are numerous resolutions that have been adopted in the context of Kashmir, primarily to resolve that issue. In 1948, when Resolution 39 was adopted to establish the Commission of the UN Security Council on urgent basis. At that time, the urgency was the security of the region. And I'm surprised, it is really mind-boggling, that today, when the security threat to the region and beyond is far more greater than it was in 1948, how come the international community, the UN Security Council, the permanent members of the UN Security Council are not concerned about it? When the two countries, Pakistan and India, are now a nuclear power, and India, because of the, I would say, indifference by and large of the international community, especially those who are the proponents of human rights, has emboldened and has taken every step that is contrary to the UN Security Council resolutions on the Kashmir, that is contrary, that is violative of the conventions on human rights and human dignity, has been going on, has been committing crimes against humanity in Indian occupied Kashmir. Kashmir has 4 dimensions, 4 major aspects to look at. One is the political, that is the very dispute sitting on the UN Security Council agenda. The other one is the security, which I just mentioned, that how it poses threat to the entire region and beyond. Third is the socio-economic situation of the entire region, because it remains hostage to this Kashmir issue. And last but not least, and the most important one, is the human rights aspect. My thrust and my focus has always been highlighting the human rights violations in Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Because this is something which the international community understands. This is something on which I found loads of parliamentarians, hundreds of parliamentarians from British Parliament, from across Europe, paying attention to what appears to them or what reaches them in terms of human rights violations. Let me just share with you, during the last 1 year and 3 months, more than 90 times questions have been raised on the Parliament of United Kingdom. That's not a small thing. That is reflective of the effort that has gone into highlighting the Kashmir issue, highlighting the plight of our Kashmiri brother in Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. And that effort, I would not take the credit or give the credit to just one stakeholder, because there are multiple stakeholders. The Kashmiris themselves, Pakistani community, Pakistanis here, Pakistani communities abroad, and of course, all the other stakeholders, the government of Pakistan. It is because of the collective effort of our diaspora, the members of Kashmiri diaspora abroad, the Kashmiris all over the world. It is because of them that you have seen India getting insulted time and again, India getting condemned by the parliamentarians across the globe time and again. And let me also allay this misperception that nothing appears in the world media. If you pick up the newspapers, international newspapers, there are volumes and volumes of reports on the crimes against humanity committed by Indian occupation forces in Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. I myself has written so many papers and sent communications to the government of the United Kingdom, to Malaysia, to wherever I have served, either as High Commissioner, as Ambassador, or as just a diplomat. And so has remained the efforts of my colleagues in the Foreign Office. I am not defending and I am not actually responding to any of the aspersions that has been cast on the Foreign Office people, because I am no more a spokesperson of the government of Pakistan or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I am a retired person. I am a member of PSC now. But Kashmir has been my passion. I am not a Kashmiri myself. But I am concerned and I feel for Kashmiris because of the plight from which they are suffering for the last 70 years. Now let me tell you, one of the speakers have also talked about India using the card of terrorism. Let me tell you that how India stood exposed when the mass graves were discovered by the International People's Tribunal, along with the Association of Parents of Disappeared Persons. Because each and every case that was randomly picked from that report, and that report was not exhaustive report by the way. It talked about only more than 3,000 mass graves, but according to IPTK, there are more than 9,000 mass graves all across Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. And when they randomly picked up the the corpses from the mass graves, it turned out they were all indigenous local Kashmiris. None of them were the infiltrators who, as alleged by India, that they had come from across LOC sent by Pakistan. So India stood exposed. And not only India stood exposed, India also is liable to be tried under crimes against humanity because they killed all those Kashmiris who were found in the mass graves in fake encounters, in staged encounters. Let me also tell you, inform you or invite your attention to the UN rapporteur's reports. In the last 1 year, 4 major reports and exhaustive letters have been written by the UN rapporteurs to the Indian government about extrajudicial killings, about sexual harassment, about the damage to property, and so many other aspects which they have monitored in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and they have reported, and they have put it in their letters which are available on the website. Anybody wants it, I can send it to them also. And there are also documented accounts of the Indian atrocities, documented none other than Amnesty International on mass blinding. Thousands of Kashmiris have been either completely blinded or partially blinded. That report of Amnesty International contains only 88 cases and reflects on it. But there are thousands of Kashmiris who have been injured in their eyes with the pellet guns used by the Indian occupation forces. Let's not forget the mass rape of Kanan Pashpura. 14th June 2018 report of UNHCR makes a reference to that. And that reference is not just about the Kanan Pashpura, but that is a reference that how the justice remained undelivered to those victims of Kanan Pashpura. I think we have loads of material available. What we need to do is to educate ourselves, use that material to expose India, as the chairman has very rightly said. I'm not going to dwell on this InfoLab report, which was forwarded or made public by EU Disinfo in December last year. Its first tranche came in November 2019. And since then, we have been actually creating awareness about the Indian propaganda. Now, let me tell you, there is a relevance of Kashmir in this regard also. You pick up that report, and from page 9 to page 87, it's an 89-page report, until page 87, you will find back and forth the references to Kashmir. And in that, it has been clearly indicated that how Kashmir issue has been actually distorted to the disadvantage of Pakistan and Kashmiris. I think it's time that we all put our efforts together. We all create awareness about the situation in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The dark chapter which India opened on 5th of August 2019, after which the world is completely in dark as to what is happening behind the closed doors. We will only know after some probe is made into the situation on ground in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, whenever it happens. But it will never happen if we do not raise the voice for the voiceless Kashmiris. It's time that we need to use social media. It's time that we need to pick up pen. It's time that we don't have to really be an NGO. You are a power in yourself, in your own right. And you have the right to raise the voice for the voiceless. So do that. All those who are sitting here are educated. Your one column, either on social media or in the print media or wherever you go or wherever you sit among the gathered, spread that word. I have been attending the sermons, Jummah prayers in various mosques across the world.